I'm going to do something different today. As you know, I'm a pinball game designer, and I've just created my own Evil Dead pinball game, Evil Dead 3. And Spooky Pinball have just announced an Evil Dead pinball game. So obviously I'm a massive Evil Dead fan because I've created my own game. But I thought I'd just watch this trailer and give you my thoughts on how good this thing is, or how bad it is, depending on how I feel. So let's get started. So I'll just watch this in full screen mode. So first of all, immediately the artwork stands out. It's a fantastic job by Christopher Frenchy, who is one of the best, if not the best, pinball artist. Now I know how hard it is to do pinball art because I've done it myself, and I don't normally do all the drawings and paintings. I just take other people's art and create a composition. But yeah, this thing looks fantastic. The topper, something that I don't do in my games. I don't add a topper, but this one looks pretty good. It's very expensive though. I think it's $1,400, and it's brilliantly sculpted though. And the fact that it's got lights and it is animated as well is, if I had the money, I would certainly buy it.
Hey, let me ask you something. Do you believe in the existence of evil?
So we've got the original Ash, Bruce Campbell, doing the call-outs. Now I was a bit worried about this because when you get an actor in a studio to recreate a character, obviously they're not on a set, they're not being directed by Sam Raimi. They're in a studio and they just read the lines, they don't act. And that's what's coming across here. Is it sounds like Bruce Campbell. It doesn't sound like Ash. And I'll explain why later as we go along. But I love this selection on the LCD. VHS on the left and right. That is absolutely genius. I'm a big fan of both films, but I think most people will probably play Evil Dead 2. But yeah, I like the way they've done that as VHS cassettes. That is superb.
Shoot some ramps so we can get on with it. The only guarantees in life are death and taxes. And I don't pay taxes, so it's just death.
So again, you can see more of Bruce Campbell just sort of reading lines as Bruce Campbell, not reading them as Ash. In my opinion, if I was in the studio with the guy, I would say, you're reading it like Bruce Campbell. You need to read it like Ash. The animations are brilliant. I've done many animations of my own, but I did something similar on my game. I had two targets which were loading the shotgun shells into the shotgun, but what they've done there with those physical targets, that's a great idea.
Get this thing loaded. Daddy wants to play.
So again, Bruce Campbell, if Ash said that, he would say, "Get this thing loaded. Daddy wants to play." It would sound like he did in the film, like groovy. And, there's a certain delivery that Ash has. It's not, "Get that gun loaded. Daddy wants to play." That's Bruce Campbell. That's not Ash. So they should have directed the actor more to get the character out of him. The double barrel ball launcher. I did think about doing that when I was thinking of doing Evil Dead 2 many years ago, I thought. But I was going to do an up and under. I was going to do an upper launch that would go to a wire form and an under that would go to the playfield, which I don't think has been done before. But they've done it side by side, which is a great idea. You've got to have some representation on the game somewhere of a double barrel shotgun. In my game, I went for the double barrel ramp. They've gone for the double barrel launcher, which is very interesting.
Guns loaded. Wish I was.
Again, that's a terrible delivery. Guns loaded. Wish I was. That is just such a boring delivery. If I was directing him, I would have said, "No, do it as Ash. Guns loaded. Wish I was." You've got to put some character into it. We don't want to hear Bruce Campbell. We want to hear Ash.
Son of a... How about a double-barrel breakfast, huh?
Gotcha, didn't I, you little sucker?
Now, there's the real Ash. Gotcha, didn't I, little sucker? And then you've got Bruce Campbell just reading the line in a recording booth. There's a massive contrast there. That's not Bruce Campbell's fault. That's the fault of Spooky, who didn't give him enough direction. I always thought that was a fantastic scene. I'm pretty sure he was lying on his back when they did that, but That is a great scene from the original film. I love that.
This is probably gonna stain. Might have to soak that.
Groovy.
Ready?
Yeah, I like the severed hand moving back and forth. That's a great idea. The hand itself doesn't move, the fingers don't move, but the hand just slides back and forth. So it looks like that's related to the groovy targets. I think there's a target behind the groovy targets that you hit, it seems. So that's a great idea. Anything that moves on the playfield, any kind of animatronic or a toy that moves is always a good thing to look at.
Aim.
Groovy.
Come up.
Now, there you go. It's obviously when you're doing an Evil Dead game, you've got to have a basement, which means you've got to have an under playfield area. Didn't need to do that in Army of Darkness because there is no basement. So I went for a kind of everything was top level. But this is another great idea. Drop targets that can raise up, and then behind it is a basement. That's great, and the ramp on the right there also moves up. So that's pretty fun.
You bash that big ugly deadite. Doesn't matter. Whatever you call it, bash it.
For God's sake, what happened to her?
Now, interestingly, the budget on the first film was $350,000. The budget on the second film was $3.5 million, and the budget on the third film was like $13.5 million. So it went up and up and up. But the second film is still the biggest, the biggest favorite with the fans.
Well, pretty sure I'm the favorite kid now.
This Bruce Campbell dialogue is just killing me. In my game, I just went with everything from the movie. Everything. It's 100% pure experience. Because, you cannot get the performance out of an actor unless they're on set, directed by the big guy himself, Sam Raimi.
Look, I've been locked down there before. It ain't exactly Mardi Gras. Let's see, us versus two dead assholes in a book. I like these odds.
Even now, we have our darling Linda's soul.
So great use of integration there. This is all about theme integration. It's like what happened in the movie, we've got to get it on the table. This is very important as well. So what they've done is they created a model there which switches around good and bad. And I think the character actually gives you misinformation, which is another genius idea from Spooky, to do that, to misinform the player that certain things are lit when they're actually not. But yeah, theme integration is very important. When you pick a monumental theme like this, you've got to get as much of the movie in the game. But I am disappointed to see that the moose head isn't there. My first thought when I was thinking of doing an Evil Dead 2 game was I got to have the moose head on the back wall.
Please, Ash, please don't hurt me.
Breakups are never easy.
Now, it's funny that Bruce Campbell says, and he's very critical of his performance in these films, he says he couldn't act at all. But I think his performance was absolute genius. He didn't say many lines in the first two films, but his physical acting ability is just off the charts. Very, very talented man.
Cabin lock is lit. I wouldn't go in there, but, knock yourself out.
Knock yourself out. I mean, what is this, Grandpa Ash?
Shut it off. Shut it off.
And this is another great idea, is having a physical toy on the apron, which is such a great idea. And the fact that he's playing those authentic recordings from the film adds a great deal of atmosphere. And there's the old lightning. So you've got to have lightning in a horror game. It's mandatory. So you have flashes on the back wall, and then you coordinate it with the sound of lightning. If you've got a rumble thingy on your machine as well, that works as well. It all adds to the great atmosphere. So once again, when you add in movie clips to a pinball machine, you've got to make sure that the pinball, the game is coordinated with the clips. So whatever's playing on the screen has to be coordinated to the action on the playfield. the lighting, the sound effects, the timers all have to be coordinated. You can't just play movie clips. It doesn't work that way. That's what everybody else does. You hit a switch, plays a movie clip. No, you've got to have everything coordinated. It's like a big symphony. Everything works together.
Well, that's over with. How about you and I get a little drinky drink, huh? Nick.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, that's a pretty decent game. I would be very excited to play that. I am a massive fan of those two films. But overall, that's a pretty decent game. I mean, I've never played a spooky game in my life, because I live in South Wales. There are no pinball games in South Wales. So the chances of me playing this game is pretty remote. But if I ever do see it out in the wild, I'd be very happy to put a couple of quid in it. Anyway, I thought that'd be fun for you to listen to my opinion. Thank you for watching. Toodaloo!
Yeah, groovy. Hail to the king, baby.